Hi everyone, welcome to Maximum Attack Rallying. It is rally week, and after a little detour, or as small a detour as you can have, to the west coast of Africa for Gran Canaria, the gravel season kicks off in style this weekend with Rally Portugal. So we have 344.5 kilometres of iconic gravel stages, culminating in 11 kilometres of FAF, which is the power stage. There is not much I can say about Rally Portugal that has not been said already. This is obviously a very, very iconic event, one of the classic WRC rallies, dripping with history and a little bit of tragedy as well, obviously with 1986. But a fantastic event in the modern era, and one that lots and lots of people look forward to. I can't believe it's been a year since I went to Rally Portugal. It was the last WRC event I went to in person last season. Seems crazy, doesn't it? Time flies, but that does not mean I am not excited to watch this one, even though it will just be on a screen this year. I think it's going to be a really important rally, particularly for the championship leader, Elfyn Evans. I think this could be one of the most important rallies of the year for the Toyota driver. It is. It's kind of, I'm loath to use the term make or break because there's still a long way to go, but I think this is kind of the point where he could really assert himself, or it could start to kind of go a bit awry. So he's had a fantastic start to the season, obviously scored lots and lots of points, and has a healthy championship lead of 43 points, I want to say. But we're now going into a run of gravel events. So we've got Portugal, Sardinia, Greece, Estonia, Finland, Paraguay, and Chile before we get to Central Europe and back onto tarmac. And he's going to be opening the road on at least the first two of those rallies. So I think maintaining a cool head at this point is potentially the difference between, winning the championship and it kind of petering away. He did not have a great rally last season in Portugal. Had a few issues, including Scott Martin leaving his pace notebook time control and having to use his phone. So he didn't have a great year last year. Obviously, he's had a difficult relationship with the Yaris Rally 1, though that said, in 2025, he obviously looks very much happier in that car. Opening the road won't help him this weekend. I'm sure he will be praying for rain. From what I can see, the forecast is looking pretty dry. There's a little bit of rain around on Sunday, I think, and I think there's actually some rain around as I record this from the reports that I've seen. So that could have an influence. Obviously, if it's dry, opening the road will make things more difficult for him. But I think the important thing to remember is that he does not need to win here. This is the point, and this is what we saw with Thierry Neuville last year. It wasn't necessarily about winning rallies, it was about consistently scoring points, and that is what Evans has to do now. He just has to keep putting points on the board. And, with this long run of gravel events, he's just got to keep plugging away, trying to be on the podium as much as possible. If he can sneak the odd win here and there, then, it's all good. So that has to be the strategy. I don't think he's going to win here, but hopefully he will be able to continue his momentum and rack up some good points. One thing in Evans' favour, however, is that one man is he's perhaps a little bit of a wild card still, and that is Kalle Rovanpera. He was, of course, absolutely unbeatable last time out on the Canary Islands. He was sensational. It was a real return to form, but that might not be true this week, perhaps. He's seen, from what I've seen, he hasn't seemed too upbeat following his pre-Portugal tests. I think he still has some doubts about the Hankook tyre. I think we have a new compound for this weekend, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. So it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? He crashed out of Rally Portugal last year, so that I don't think that's going to have a major influence on this year. I think it would be madness to discount Rovanpera from the race, even though, like Evans, he's going to suffer a bit from running order. But he just doesn't seem too happy with the tyre still. So we could get the Canary Islands Rovanpera, or we could get the Sweden Rovanpera, and it's just hard to tell, isn't it? He's still a little bit of an unknown in 2025, so we're just going to have to see what happens. Perhaps for him, this is kind of like Evans, and it's just get some points on the board and just keep building and learning the tyre and kind of getting back into the groove. So maybe this is kind of just going to be a steady as she goes, but who knows, he might blow everyone out of the water again. We just don't know. Two men, however, who will be looking for a good result, and possibly you could argue need a good result, are Thierry Neuville and Ogier and Tanak. I think it's fair to say that Rally Las Canarias was a disaster for Hyundai. It was dreadful. The new heavily revised i20 Rally 1 did not perform, and I think it showed that Hyundai have kind of got something quite wrong there with that car. That was tarmac though. This is obviously gravel, so a slightly different event. And I think both Neuville and Tanak were on the podium in Portugal last year, and I expect them to go better here than they did last time out. So I don't think necessarily the issues that we saw on tarmac will afflict the new i20 on gravel, though it is still a bit of an unknown, isn't it? We don't know what that's going to look like. If the car is bad, then that is an absolute disaster. Both of them, both Tanak and Neuville, will be hoping for big points, won't they? I think Tanak's 52 points behind Neuville 50, so that is a big margin already. They will both want to win. I think they are both very capable of winning, and they also obviously need to get good results because Hyundai want to stay in the manufacturer's race. I should mention Ogier and Formaux as well. He's shown good pace obviously this season so far, but has not necessarily turned that into results. I don't know. I don't know where to put Formaux this weekend. I think it's tricky. I'm not expecting him to be in the lead fight, but he might prove me wrong. I don't know. I think a steady as she goes good result might do him some good here, but maybe he'll surprise me. Maybe he'll surprise me. I do need to get back to Toyota, don't they? Because there is one man in Portugal that we most definitely cannot discount, and that is Sebastian Ogier. The GOAT did not have an answer to Rovanpera in Gran Canaria, did he? It was weird. I think it's just weird, isn't it, to think of Ogier not being this like god level driver, and he seemed to sort of admit that maybe the years are catching up with him a little bit, and he's not willing to take the risks that he once was, and that was playing a role in him, not being on the same pace as Rovanpera last time. I'm not sure I see that being a big problem in Portugal. Different rally, isn't it? Different strategy. He won the rally last year, didn't he? And road position is obviously going to help him a little bit here. Will he win this year? I'm a bit loath. I was thinking about this before I recorded this video, because sometimes I feel like a bit of a broken record with Ogier, and that I keep backing him, and there has to be a point where I stop backing him, because he was always such a safe bet, wasn't he, for a long time, and it isn't really like that anymore. I think he will be in the mix, but I do have a sneaking feeling that Ogier and Tanak might come out on top. I think, was he second last year, wasn't he? And he's been quick this year, and I just have a feeling that Tanak might be the man this weekend. I'm going to put Ogier in the mix. I think Ogier will be on the podium, but I'm going to back Tanak. I'm going to back Tanak for the win. I'm going to stick my neck out and say that Tanak's going to win this one. I want to get to M Sport, but just before that, I should mention Takamoto Katsuta and Sami Payari. I don't expect either of them to finish really in the mix this year. In Portugal, Katsuta crashed out last year, didn't he? Or he didn't crash out, he crashed, and I saw his car being repaired in service, I seem to recall, but I think he did get out again. I don't expect them to really be in amongst it particularly. I think this is one of those rallies where the top guys will be on top. Two tops. But M Sport. I want to talk about M Sport because, as well as Gregoire Munster and Josh McAleen, we have two extra Pumas. So M Sport are running 4 cars. Martin Sesks makes his return, which is very exciting. He had an explosive arrival onto the Rally 1 scene last year. Difficult, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people hoped that he would get a full-time drive with M Sport this year, and that hasn't come off. He finds himself in a position again, doesn't he, where he needs to impress. I don't know if it's necessarily about setting blistering stage times. I think there needs to be speed, doesn't there? But there also needs to be a result. And just, I think if he can show that he's quick and he can get to the end, do all the mileage, I think that will be enough. I think he will be faster than both of the other Pumas, I want to say. Macalini is obviously still very much learning and getting better. I think he's doing a good job this year. But there's something about Cesks, isn't there? I think Cesks has that spark, not just behind the wheel, but also in interviews and at the stop line. So I'm excited to see him. In the fourth Puma is a local driver, Diogo Salvi. I think his targets for the weekend will be slightly different. I guess he will just be there to have fun in a top level car, which is above the usual Skoda that he drives, and just have some fun in front of his local fans. But it's nice, isn't it? Nice to see someone else actually in one of these cars in a slightly larger Rally 1 entry. But speaking of entries, the Rally 1 entry pales in comparison to, is it 55, I want to say, Rally 2 cars on the entry list, led away by Oliver Solberg. What an absolutely sensational number that is. Will Solberg come out on top? He crashed last year as well, didn't he? Got distracted when Rovanpera had gone off the road and binned it himself. Will he win? He's going to have a tough battle, isn't he? He's got Johan Rossell and Gus Greensmith right behind him, but Solberg always shows very good speed, so I expect him to win this one. I think Solberg will come out on top here, but there are so many names. There are more names in WRC2 than I even have time to read. If I read them all out, this video would be half an hour long. One worth mentioning, however, is Pierre-Louis Loubet. He makes his WRC2 return in an M Sport Fiesta this weekend, which is quite interesting. Interesting move from him. He had an absolutely terrible 2024 in a park campaign in a Skoda Fabia, including a crash in Portugal last year. Very, very bad year for him, and he will be looking to make amends for that. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. Has he lost that spark? You know, he's a previous WRC2 champion, moved up to Rally 1 and things didn't really work out. He's got a long road back now, isn't he? There are a lot of drivers out there that will be looking for seats in the future, so a big, big step for him required to get back to where he was before, effectively, so he's got a lot of rebuilding to do. Anyway, I think it is time that I stopped rabbiting on. I'm going to pass things over to you and ask you to let me know in the comments below who you think is going to win, both in Rally 1 and in a Rally 2 car. So put something below about that. As always, make sure you like and subscribe, hit all those little buttons because it helps me. We recently passed 300,000 views on YouTube, which I'm very, very grateful for. So thank you for your support. Other than that, I will just say see you next